News is thin on the ground. West Ham news is thin on the ground. I just want to sort of make the point that this video is in no way an in the know or a transfer rumour or anything. It was something that I saw. Somebody posted something and I read it. I thought, oh, hold on, that is an interesting idea. In fact, the news is so thin on the ground, I wasn't going to do a video at all today. Then I realised I had to do the book giveaway for our player ratings book, so as you can join in with the Patreon player ratings series. And I had to pick a couple of winners from yesterday. So Steve the Weave. And this guy hasn't got a name, but his username is DCUF6VE. You two have won from yesterday. Go and check your messages, get in touch, and I'll get these out in the post to you. Now, Gio actually sent me, as you can see, Gio yesterday actually sent me 4 of these. So I've got 4. I've got to keep one for myself for the player rating series. I'm going to give one away, one more away, and I'll do that based on the comments of this video here. You'll hear what the premise of this video is, but basically, whoever can come out with the most interesting loan deal, or swap deal, basically, not loan deal, swap deal, will win one of those. So it's a little less ambiguous than yesterday's. But honestly, news is thin on the ground. Today's video is about the prospect of possibly us doing a swap with Danny Ings for James Ward Prowse. I'll get into that in just a second. But it's not news. It's not a story. I just thought it was quite a good suggestion. There's a reason to have a little chat about West Ham for 10 minutes anyway today. I don't know what's going on with the Declan Rice stuff. But somebody in yesterday's comments said to me, I don't know why you bother. We're not going to sign anybody. Nobody. All West Ham will do, we'll get to the end of the window and we'll sign just a couple of loan players. Now, I'm quite certain that's not going to happen. Don't get me wrong, we might be slow. We're losing ground on teams like Brighton and Brentford and other teams that begin with B. Aston Villa. We're lagging behind. We're slow. I'm not saying anything other than that. But I don't think we're going to sign nobody. So I replied back and said, I don't think that's going to be the case. And then a couple of people have replied on social media and stuff like that and said, come on, put your money where your mouth is if you think we're going to sign players. Now, I'm not putting any money on it because I'm skint. But what I will do is I'll put some facial hair on it. So what I'll do is I think West Ham will spend about £75 million this season. But there's a little bit of ambiguity to that. So what I'll say is I'm going to grow a moustache until West Ham spend over £25 million on a player. I was going to do 50 million, but I've got to be honest with you, I don't think we will. So I'm not going to bet on something I don't think will happen. But I do think we'll spend over £25 million on a player. So there you go. If I'm looking at, I can't think of the geezer's name. What's the geezer's name in the Mexican guy in Desperado? What's the guy's name? Danny. Oh, that's going to annoy me now. Whatever, let's go with Magnum. So if I'm looking like Magnum come the end of the transfer window, you'll know that that we haven't signed anyone. So we're going to go with that. The subject matter for today is something that I read. And it was about Danny Ings. Danny Ings scored last night, and he looked reasonably sharp. I know, yes, against Boreham Wood. I'm not going to go into what I think about that before someone says there's only Boreham Wood. I thought he looked reasonably sharp. He was partnered in attack, it seems, from the brief highlights I've seen, with Gianluca Scamacca. Let's be fair, none of that's going to happen. We are not going to see David Moyes playing with 2 strikers next season. So I sort of do wonder, I think, maybe Danny Ings is still a little bit surplus to requirements. I'd like him to do well at West Ham. I'd like us to play 2 up top. I think Danny Ings is a talented finisher. His finish against Boreham Wood was good, right? Good work down the wing, wasn't it, as well? And got to say, I want to see Kadua step up this season. We'll do that in a separate video. What I was pleased about, though, was the way Danny Ings finished. But also, in being pleased, it's also frustrating. You think, well, we're never going to see that in the Premier League. I think it's hard to make a case that Danny Ings is going to be anything other than a bit part player for West Ham next season. Is Danny Ings going to start starting most of our games up front for West Ham? No, he's just not. He's not. And I think he's better than that, and I think he deserves better than that. However, the other part of it is, I know that West Ham, or I guess it's David Moyes, really wants James Ward Prowse, or so it seems, if rumours are to be believed. I'm not happy about paying loads of money for James Ward Prowse for obvious reasons that I've gone into before. He's 28. We'll never see that money back. I think at 20 million, it's a decent signing. If you start getting towards the 40 million and stuff like that, then, forget it. And it is interesting because actually the Daily Mail yesterday did report that West Ham were going to go in with a low ball offer at 20 million. I can understand why Southampton wouldn't want to do business at that, but I understand why West Ham wouldn't pay more than that. I don't mind paying 20 million for a 28-year-old. That's great. James Ward-Prowse would be a decent Premier League player until he's 32, 33, something like that. So I don't mind that at all. However, I do wonder if there's a case of they've got something we want and we've got something they want. Now, the talk so far has always been about Flynn Downs. I'm really reluctant for us to let any midfielders go at the moment. I really am, and I'll probably even include Soucek in that at the moment. We're already going to lose Declan Rice at some point. I mean, moustache might be that long by the time we lose Declan Rice. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we can afford to start shipping out other midfielders before we've brought some midfielders in. So I'm also not convinced that that's a great deal for West Ham. James Ward Prowse and Flynn Downs, I'm sure we'd have to give them some money as well. However, what does Southampton want? I think when you're offering someone a deal, you've got to wonder what they want. For a long time, we were asking Arsenal, understand what we want. We want to get past financial fair play rules. That's why we were asking Arsenal to pay all the transfer fee over a shortened period. Well, maybe we've got to understand what Southampton want. Well, it's bloody obvious, isn't it? What does Southampton want more than anything else? And that's to get out of the Championship. They're going to need goals. They're going to need someone to fire them out of the Championship. Who better than Danny Ings? I mean, Danny Ings, I'm pretty sure, would be the best striker in the Championship, would get 30 goals. If he stays fit, gets 30 goals. If someone scores 30 goals for Southampton, they get promoted. I think that much is clear. Do Southampton know how to get the best out of Danny Ings? Of course they do. It's Southampton. There's one thing we do know. We do know that he thrives there. I think he's from the area. I might be wrong. I think he is. I'm pretty sure he is. And I just think it probably makes sense. Now, I guess the thing is, would Danny Ings like to do this? Quite possibly not. But Danny Ings, I'm quite sure, left Aston Villa for first team football. He wasn't getting it. Unai Emery came in at Aston Villa and, well, Ollie Watkins quickly became the chosen one, didn't he? And rightly so. Ollie Watkins is a fine player. There wasn't much scope for Danny Ings at Aston Villa anymore. He got shipped out to play first-team football. He's not played first-team football at West Ham. I'm pretty sure he doesn't regret it because we didn't get relegated. And he ended up as a trophy winner, didn't he? He's got a medal. I mean, that's great. I don't know how many medals Danny Ings has won in his career. That might be his first one. I honestly don't know. He's going to be chuffed with that. And he looked really pleased during the celebrations in the Conference League final. So, good for him. But he still wants first-team football. Now, he's on big wages, so he'd probably have to sacrifice a bit of that. But I still think there's a swap deal there. I think that probably James Ward Prowse on pretty big wages. And I don't subscribe to the fact that James Ward Prowse would be a useless player for West Ham. I don't think so. I think he'd be a decent enough signing. I still think we need other things. I think we need a little bit more energy, a little bit more vibrancy in the midfield. Would I like to see a midfield of James Ward Prowse and Polina from Fulham? No, I bloody wouldn't. Thank you very much. But it doesn't mean that James Ward Prowse can't do a job for West Ham. Absolutely. I'd certainly think that he could be helpful in some way, shape or form, and he'd be a good Premier League operator. He's also he's their captain, isn't he? We're certainly going to need a captain next season. Not saying he would necessarily be captain. I just think it would be a good signing. It'd be a particularly good signing if maybe we could do Danny Ings in exchange. Look, we paid £15 million for Danny Ings, so that's, as far as I'm concerned, what Danny Ings is worth. A striker that'll fire you out the Championship and get you back to the riches of the Premier League, and then, whatever the payment is, it's 200 odd million, isn't it? Basically, that's what you're going to get from Sky and BT and the overseas television rights. Then you're going to be happy enough to pay £15 million for a striker. I think anyway. I think maybe if a deal could be done where we give them Danny Ings and £10 million or something like that, and we get James Ward Prowse. I think that's reasonable. I really do. I'll be interested to know what you think about that. I've plucked it out of thin air, which is how you go. I haven't plucked it out of thin air. I read it. But I didn't read it. It wasn't an article. Someone else had typed it under a rumour. If you're going to win one of these, the last one of these, by the way, and these are available in our store, hammerschatstore.com. By the way, if you are a Hammers Chat addict, you get one for free. So you just have to go to the store. You have to pay for the postage, but you do get one of these for free. So you don't need to enter the competition. You're getting one anyway. What I want here, so that's my suggestion that I've stolen off someone else. Danny Ings, James Ward Prowse, swap deal. I want the best swap deal that I read that's coming out of you. It doesn't have to be true. I don't want it to be true. I don't want to make it up. Look, let's be fair. We've got nothing else to do. We're not signing any players, and we're certainly not selling Declan Rice at the moment. We've got nothing else to do, have we? Give me your made-up swap deal, And either the best or the funniest one, whatever, the best one there wins a book, and I'll let you know tomorrow.